welcome to Film Freaks. This is Justin Llewellyn.
Eddie Williams.
And tonight we're going to be doing another audio review, and this time we're going to be talking about a film that, believe it or not, even from the trailers, I seriously was not looking forward to.
Yep.
This movie we're going to be talking about now is Good Boys, which is directed by Gene Stupnitsky and is produced by Seth Rogen and Evan Goldberg, and also
And it's
Jonah
the
Hill.
people. Yeah, it's the people that brought us Super Bad, Neighbors 1 and 2, and Sausage Party.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. And this one, it stars Jacob Tremblay, who you may remember he played in Wonder a couple years ago, and he's also in one of the most acclaimed drama films when he's in that movie Room. And it also stars Will Forte as his dad, and you also got these, and then among others. And this story, we deal with a group of tweens, as they call themselves, who are a group of boys and entering the sixth grade, and they're basically wanting. The whole plot is basically them wanting to go to a party as they get invited with a kid from school and their friends, and they want to go to a kissing party. And along the
Yeah,
way, they
basically, Jacob Tremblay, he was the one who has like a crush on this one girl, and basically his goal is to get to that party and kiss this girl.
yeah,
So it's a pretty, yeah, it's a
and then
pretty just blah plot. To be
yeah,
honest
and
with
then
you.
also along the way they get into a series of misadventures, like we see in a lot of other coming of age movies with these
Comedies, yeah,
comedies,
comedies, yeah.
and and uh, and then a whole bunch of ruckus comes up. Now
And
here's a
now
little.
a little bit of backstory. Like we said, it was from the guys who brought us Super Bad, Neighbors 1 and 2, and Sausage Party.
Mhm.
Um, and mainly Super Bad because this is pretty much the sixth grade version of that. I remember, to this day, I still hold Super Bad as like a really good raunchy comedy.
I do
I
too.
felt like the movie had like a lot of style, and it was hilarious, had good cast. The dilemmas in that one was really done. I mean, it was done well.
It was, and also, believe it or not, this director Gene Stupnitsky, he was also, or Stupinski, sorry. He's also known for writing for comedies. He's known for writing on the Office TV series, the U.S. TV
Yeah,
series.
which are from what I've seen is pretty good. And Neighbors 1 and 2, we both me and Justin both enjoyed both of those
Mhm.
movies. I found both of them fucking hilarious. Sausage Party was probably the weakest until we get to this one,
Mhm.
but it was still funny. It was a cool take on Pixar being raunchy.
Yeah, and in this one from the trailers, I was already kind of skeptical because it seemed to me that because this was produced by Seth Rogen, and it seemed like they were trying to bring back the old type of
Super bad.
comedy, like super bad feel, like he wrote with Evan Goldberg back in 2007, and going based off the trailers, it really felt like they were trying to capture that magic again with these these kids going to party and stuff. And even from the trailers, I just wasn't really looking forward to it because already from the idea, I mean, not that I don't have anything idea that I'm against the idea of these, younger kids going and doing raunchy shit, but the comedy I felt like it was coming across as very forced, and it just really it wasn't clicking well with the humor they were going
Yeah,
for.
it was the trailer was not clicking. It just felt like it was a try too hard. And
Yeah,
upon seeing this film, just like I predicted, this movie was an absolute disaster.
it was, and I'll admit that I will say that out of I haven't really seen many comedies, but this is definitely the worst comedy I've seen this year so far.
Yeah.
But that's not saying much. But I will say this: if I'm going to have any pros whatsoever, I will say that there are moments in the film that come across as kind of genuine with the way that these kids, go through the motions, and when they're actually doing stuff that's outside the comedy area, there are
Yeah.
moments where the kids actually come across as genuine with their friendship, and
Yeah.
they're some of their moments with their like serious moments, they're kind of they at least are okay in those
Yeah.
parts.
Yeah, because like in the towards the end, they do try to do something where like these friends best bet is to break up and do what they enjoy instead of just being hold down to them being together. They go
Yeah.
and do things they enjoyed and the heartwarming thing. That is a pro for me. Even though his lines were pretty bad, I guess the only tolerable person I could say was Jacob Tremblay, and
Yeah.
that's not saying much because uh, I mean I still have a lot of problems, and it's mainly probably the writing more with him versus the other two, which I thought were them was the issue too. But those are pretty much the only two things I really enjoyed.
Yeah, because I maybe probably chuckled maybe once or twice throughout the entire
Yeah,
movie,
I
but
barely
the
chuckled maybe
rest
once
is
or twice.
just a colossal fucking waste. Like, I seriously was so. This is where we now get into our cons. I was so fucking annoyed by this whole premise, and not, I mean, the entire film altogether.
Yeah.
Where do we begin? Like, you got.
I can get because they're sixth graders, their main goal is not to get anything other than kissing. That's fine with me, but it just didn't work for me. It was painfully unfunny.
It was.
Uh,
It
a
was
lot of
unfunny.
lines came out of these kids were terrible. The writing was terrible in this film. Uh, yeah,
Yeah, and not to mention, it doesn't help that a lot of the dialogue that they're trying to, come across, it's not necessarily like it's come across like it's improvised dialogue, but it just seems like
it's
they're
forced. Heavily forced.
it's forced humor that is so like it's delivered. Not only is it bad writing altogether, but it's delivered in such a poorly way because
Yeah,
these
the
kids.
yeah, the delivery not only by the writing, but the delivery from the boys are really cringeworthy to the point it feels like, I mean, it's like they did. It's like they're in the middle of practicing.
Yeah,
You
it's
get
almost like they did. It's like
they
a
didn't
rough
practice,
draft of them
just
trying to.
read it.
Yeah, it's like a rough draft that they shot and kept all the jokes that they first wrote on paper and used that as a first draft. And you can
That
tell.
guy told kids just to say what you want, and because they're so young, they just throw out like nympho. Oh, that's like when a girl has sex on land and sea. I mean, they're just saying some random shit out of just to make it. I think they were pushing the whole super bad so hard that it came off as a fucking Dollar General version,
Yeah, and
and I'm putting that like
not to mention, even in the first half, I really found these kids just so unlikable. Like throughout the rest of the film, they start to become a lot more genuine later on. But at first, I was just getting this really bad fucking impression of them because they came across as just talking shit and I get that it's supposed to be how they are with sixth graders and stuff, but the way that they're the way that they're saying just raunchy shit, it doesn't come across as genuine. It comes across as something out of a bad fucking uh I don't know, a bad YouTube comedy sketch or whatever, and not in a good way. You know.
it comes off like something out of those stupid vines.
Mhm.
Just to be randomly funny. And I'm not saying I don't like raunchy comedies because, like we said, there's a lot of raunchy comedies him and I enjoyed, and we're probably going to get a lot of people saying, "Well, you didn't let your mind open up." No, there's a difference between super bad in this movie. I'm sorry, there's a huge difference.
Yeah, and a lot of and
And
I
this
mean
film
there's
did
been
not have
comparisons.
any. This film doesn't have any. Aside from no fun, not laughing, it doesn't have any. It doesn't have any. What would you call it? It doesn't have. Doesn't have style.
It
It doesn't
doesn't.
have like Superbad had style. It had and then the story just made sense as they go along. Another con I have in this film is I felt like the editing for one is a big problem in this film, and I felt like the way they edit this, like where like you're paying attention to one dilemma, then it goes to another dilemma, but then later on we go back to that first dilemma, but then we get into another dilemma and then another one, but then we got to go back. It's like in pieces like that. The what really was I noticed the choppiness of the editing is the part where the two girls are after the boys.
Yeah, they just come out of nowhere in a lot of scenes like,
And they just
okay,
keep
we go
coming
from
and coming and
there
coming.
to
I'm like,
there.
yeah. It just randomly just shows up. It just randomly just pops. It's like this film does not make any fucking sense. It's
Yeah.
trying to put these kids in such a bad dilemma to the point like they start losing track of what the hell they were building towards.
Yeah, exactly. And you know, there's this is just one of those type of comedies that it tries to go for the mark and tries to go for just a fun going to a party and stuff. And it's like when they get to the actual party and everything, it seems to be like almost kind
It
of becoming that kind of decent at that point. But it was already
Well,
too
then
late
again, but
because
whenever like you get to the kissing party, you start thinking, okay, oh, before we get to the whole genuine part, this makes absolutely this this is where I was so fucking lost. I'm like, we built our this whole fucking dilemma bullshit for this moment to kiss, and then they break up.
yeah, I was like, okay, that was
It
fucking
becomes a totally
pointless.
different movie where they're fucking trying to do a coming of age story. I'm like, and I was like, you're about a fucking hour and a half late on that.
Yeah, we did
You
this
can't just
whole
pop up
thing.
a fucking coming of age part and out of nowhere. You can't do that. You do that throughout the whole story. You don't do
Yeah,
that at the fucking end.
yeah, because I mean, granted, there are a couple of moments throughout that mainly focuses on like certain dilemmas that one of the kids goes through, but it's hardly touched base on until like far later in the movie to the point that I really didn't give a shit throughout. And then once it gets to the end, it's like you almost got me there, but the rest of your movie failed so bad to the point I just lost hope for it.
Like I just stated, you can't do a coming of age type of thing where you get kind of serious and act like okay we can do that at the end of the movie and it makes more sense. No, that's something that has to be a build. You have to build
Yeah,
that up. And
yeah,
another thing I really had an issue with Jacob Tremblay. Some of his lines are pretty cringy, but he didn't bother me too much. But his two fucking friends did,
yeah.
mainly
They,
the black kid. He
yeah,
annoyed the fuck out of me with his screech crying and tattertelling and shit. It just
yeah.
it
And
was too much.
plus, it also doesn't help, and I know it's supposed to be a comedy and all, and this is might just be coming across a nitpick. Those crying scenes that those boys have, I felt were kind of forced in some of them too. I was like, I know it's supposed to be a comedy, but that really came across as annoying and really just it was meant to be a serious moment, and it just really fucking lost me there. I was like,
And
you're
all
trying,
right, and another dilemma. There's two major dilemmas in this film. One, or not dilemmas, but two goals. Two goals in this film that they focus on, and then they have 1,000 other things. One is the getting to the kissing party, but the
mhm.
one problem I knew where this was going was the part where he loses his dad's drone by crashing it and breaking it. And I knew from right then and there where this was going to go because when he went and bought the drone, it didn't occur to them that they might have wanted to paint it yellow because the guy had a yellow drone, and they go in through all this dilemma to get the to buy a new drone. And it was fucking orange. It's like
Yeah, I'm like,
derp,
what the fuck?
fucking pot.
Yeah,
It's like the it's like the no one paid attention when they were writing and making this.
yeah. It was one of those movies that I was just kind of just
I
waiting for
know
the
a lot of
end.
people out there like this film, and that's fine with me. But I don't see how this is getting liked by a lot of people.
I don't either. I mean, that's cool if you like it. You know, it's just
Yeah,
one of those movies that really didn't click well for me at all. And
like well,
I found
you're
it.
lucky.
It's something I definitely am probably not going to watch ever again. And with that, I'm only being generous on this because there was like moments here and there that I didn't think were too bad. And I'm probably just being generous. I'm giving this movie a extremely, extremely low disaster grade on the Film Freaks meter. I almost gave it a
Yeah,
flat
I,
line, but I
yeah,
because there were some other genuine moments that I didn't mind too much. Mainly they were far in between. It was a complete total shit, but it's
yeah.
still pretty fucking
See,
bad.
I agree with you, and that's me too. I'm extreme low disaster grade on film freaks meter, and like you stated just perfectly what I was going to say. I would have gave a flat line, but there was like it by a nail thread. It was watchable, but almost not watchable.
Yeah.
Like
So
I was able to get through it, but it was still a chore. But it wasn't like some of the shit we seen this year and last year and the year before, like where you just had to almost walk out. It wasn't that level. So yeah, I felt like a very low disaster grade would be perfect for it. But it might be pretty much on my honorable mentions. Don't
Yeah,
know
same,
yet.
if yeah, same here. I'll see where it goes on my list toward the end of the year. For
Yep.
those of you who have also seen Good Boys, let us know in the comments below what you thought about it. And if you like what you see here, you can feel free to like and subscribe to our channel and check out some other reviews here and our website at filmphreaks.com. And we'll be seeing you in our next review. We'll see you later.
Later.